Hello and welcome to the show. It is time for a new BeamNG Drive series. As much as I've enjoyed The Reckoning, as much as I've enjoyed Driven Till Destruction, I'm going to be changing things up with a tarmac rally stage. This one, though, is, well, considerably more technical than the canyon rally that we did. This is on the Pine Hills map. We are using one road. I have tweaked a few bits along this road, smoothed out a couple of parts to make things a little bit more interesting, make perhaps some unusual cars potentially stand a little bit more of a chance. Now, as I said, this is a relatively technical course. While there are places, for example, this run down towards the first corner, where you will be able to pick up a little speed with cars, well, certainly like the hill climb cars, hell, even in this rally cover, there will be speed to be gained around here. There is also plenty of obstacles, because, well, the important thing in any good series on Beam, there has to be chances for some really spectacular crashes, basically. So there are some sudden drops, there are plenty of trees around the places we snake our way through these roads. There is plenty of elevation changes to be dealing with, even mid-corner. This is the fastest bit on the route as we barrel our way down this hill. There's a big old crest coming up here. There's a really nasty kind of blind corner that you've got to hope you've got your car positioned correctly for before we will run onto a bridge. Now, it does look like a little bit of a bounce across there for the bridge. Don't worry, when we're at full racing speed, we're actually going to be airborne when we jump onto the bridge. It doesn't really matter. Then things start getting really tricky, because next corner is a mean one. I did toy with the idea of removing the petrol station, but I actually quite like that we go from the fastest section on the track to having to suddenly try and slow the car down for this very, very narrow bit. We then have a jaunt across a little bit of, well, kind of mud area onto another tarmac road where we have a really, really steep incline for the cars to deal with. So crazy powered rear-wheel drive cars can get in a lot of trouble at this part of the course. And then we have a jump across the finish line, or in this case, a mild bumble down a hill across the finish line. Either way, that is the course. As ever with these series, I like to keep the course relatively short, but there is a lot of different things for the vehicles to deal with, from steep drops, steep climbs, fast corners, slow corners, rough terrain, and some awkward braking zones. I think it's going to make for an interesting challenge in these cars. We're going to start with this rally covert. We're going to see how quickly I can get the car down the course. Now, I'm also going to be trying something a little bit different with this series. I might end up changing it if it doesn't work, but I'm going to try live recording the runs for this. No idea how many attempts it might take to get a good run. The first few, likely to be throwaways with some really big crashes while I figure out what you can and can't get away with in the rally covert. Apparently you can get a lot of speed into turn 1. I think we can get more, though, through that sort of second corner. Turn 3 is a big understeery downhill turn. It's quite a nasty one. Turn 4 is a rather tight hairpin. If people have good names for corners, do let me know. We'll try to actually get around to naming the corners on our rally stage. Turn 5 is try to avoid a trip into the trees. And, well, we're going to go into the trees at a different place. It's an unspectacular crash. I will be honest. It's a rather unspectacular crash. I don't even know if I can get back out again. I mean, it's not the, yeah, not quite the greatest of christenings for this hill climb course. We've got a covert bumbling around in the bush. But, well, that's not going anywhere, is it? Nope, bye-bye covert. Bye-bye covert. It tried its best. Maximum attack, maximum bravery across here. Oh, we're going to be really oversteery. Not quite going to be able to hold that one. That's one roll. Oh, let's fire. I mean, we haven't actually broken that much of the car. I say that with my car currently on fire. It does still, I think the chassis might be a little bit twisted. Ooh. Like, nothing technically has been broken, but it doesn't really drive very well, and there is a fair bit of fire going on out of the side of the car. Okay, surprisingly oversteery coming across that crest Gotta watch out for that one, as the fire is going to lick through the front of this car in no time. Oh, no, bad, bad, bad. I shouldn't have said anything. Oh, we might almost save it. We're not going to save it. We're not going to save it. Definitely not going to save that. It's over. It's kind of squished. Again, big tumble, relatively in one piece. Doesn't actually even pull to the left or to the right from all of that. We've kind of redesigned, restyled the back of the car from the roll. That crest is going to get so many cars upside down. It's going to roll so many vehicles. We've given up actually braking into this first corner, or kind of initially into this first corner. Kind of depends on where we position ourselves in the road, and with the bumps. Oh, that's going to be another place to roll a covert. You know what I said about not rolling a covert? I shall roll a covert. I shall break a covert in a different... Well, got to be mindful. Got to be mindful of those inside hills. Let's make sure we've got the car at a speed that it is capable of finding grip. There we go. It's bounced its way down. Oh, keep it together. Yes, we are on to the bridge. We've got bounced around a little bit on our way to the bridge. Try and get the car stopped. Oh, wrong gear completely. That was all sorts of terrible. It's not gone particularly well down here, has it? That was all sorts of terrible. The run I'm not going to be using. Oh, they were completely in the wrong gear. Note to self: don't put the car in the wrong gear. You might have real trouble getting up the hill. Is that... Yeah, I think that might be the diff not helping matters at the front here. Whoop! Oops. Yeah, gears are important. Very important on those very, very steep climbs. So, as the Covert rally car sets off in a flurry of not too much wheel spin. Actually, it's up towards this first corner. I'm preferring to go a little bit easy on the brakes on the way in. Just settle the car across the bumps. It also makes it a tad easier. Don't carry so much weight barreling down towards the second corner there. Again, a big, big stop into this turn 3. We'll get the car turned. We are struggling a little bit with understeer around here in the Covert turn 4, similar story. Now we will be flat out all the way to the crest. Number of vehicles, number of Covert rally cars have gone exploring around here. It's all a case of finding that right line, finding that right level of speed. That was spot on in the Covert. Jump onto the bridge, but get on the brakes nice and early, because we've got to try and brake. There we go. Into our little industrial area, kind of, through the petrol station. We head. Might have shifted up a fraction too soon. We're going to get away with it if we don't run too wide into the hairpin. Now, watch for the wheel spin. Watch for the wheel spin as we climb. Covert, use all of your speed, and across the line we go with the Covert and into a tree. I think we're going to have some spectacular finishes from cars and some very, very poor finishes. But actually, the Covert rally car, it's good fun, and the Covert rally car is always a good vehicle. The Covert in general is a good vehicle to start these sort of things off with. I think well suited, perhaps better suited than some of the track cars, but that is something that we're going to find out as we go through. It deals with the bumps through on the run into turn 1 very well. The crest will catch it out, but we got across the bridge. We got the car stopped nicely for the really technical section. Of course, the great turning circle of the Covert is always helpful. Perhaps the lack of power on the hill climb will hinder it, but at least unlike a crazy powerful rear-wheel drive car, I think we might have a little bit more control in this one, which is always helpful. Up next, another firm favourite, the D-Series. I'm going to be driving the D35 Pig, essentially a off-road, heavy, very heavy-duty off-road vehicle. Not quite a rock crawler, but not too far off. Suspension-wise, we should be good, certainly for the run into turn 1, as we are about to find out. Run into turn 1 should be no problem for the suspension to deal with. The bumps should hold no fear for such a vehicle, although as I say that, there are other issues with the quite softly sprung off-road cars. Bouncing was not something that I necessarily thought that this vehicle would have so many issues, or I'd hoped it wouldn't have. I got broken steering, something's broken at the front of the car. What is broke? I think the steering rack might actually be twisted on it. My car is pulling very, very badly to the right. Oh! Oh dear. Oh dear. I might have ripped the entire rear end just apart. We lost the drive shaft, but that's so much more damage than that. It's just completely come unseated. Like, the suspension, I think, is holding the axle in place. I don't think anything else is. That's a crab, if ever I saw one in vehicular form. Look at it go. Oh. That's very, very ruined. This might be quite difficult, actually. I think we've only got 4 gears to play with as we head across the crest. We don't quite have the steering. I think we might be about to snap the rear axle off again. The engine's turned off. We definitely collapsed some suspension at the back there. Can we get the engine back on again? Yeah, I mean, the truck is okay. It'll still drive us to our destination. The rear suspension is a little bit on the unhealthy side. Oh, there are some real big old bumps over in that part. Well, it's hardly surprising to go for a roll down that steep hill. Oh, just about caught all of that as we head on to the bridge. I'm not sure we're going to get this stopped in time. Oh! What elegance! What elegance indeed! Save it from the water, save it from the water. We will, hey! Well, little bit too much speed and not enough handling, and my fear of rolling over came kind of true, although if we hadn't rolled, we're going to miss the corner anyway, so roll for spectacularness sake. I mean, the truck's perfectly fine. I think the only damage we did in all of that is we lost a light. And another big stop for this tightening radius corner. Watch out for the crest on the inside, lifting up the front of the truck. If you're ready for it, if you're aware of it, you can manage it so that it doesn't become a big problem like we did there. Get away with that as we're going to run down the big dip. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, just clip the sand. Oh, we're going to go swimming in the river. Oh, it might actually be able to drag its way out of here because it has a snorkel. Yeah, it does. Come on, go, 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 go. Engine might have slightly flooded. I say slightly flooded. Briefly started in taking water before we got away from there. Damn and blast those sandbanks. Well, the pig will certainly launch itself away from the line pretty bloody quickly, although got to be very mindful of the bumps. It's more slowing down into these first corners because we don't want the truck bouncing around than it is so much for the vehicle's grip through the turn. While it's never going to have the best handling, primarily because of the, well, very off-road orientated suspension, lifting things up and just generally not good for corner grip. But it could be worse, I think, is what to take away. Mind out for the crest on the inside there, lifting up that inside front wheel as we now head towards the big drop that has been the seed of many deaths already. Oh, that was a wheel across the edge. It's still very much on edge now. Let's get the truck under control. Again, it's trying to brake in a straight line is oh so very, very important. Now, don't roll it as we come through the petrol station. Across the bumps we go, up towards the hill climb section. Will the pig, with all of its power, all of its torque, be able to make up some time here? I think it will as it boings its way across the line. That was some... that was a majestic flight. That was a absolutely fantastic flight from the D series. It definitely wins the jump competition for the finish line so far. There have only been 2 vehicles, but it's winning that at the moment. We did take out a tyre after crossing the crossing the line. Yeah, once we get into the sort of uphill section, I think this sort of truck will come good through that last bit. Just the sheer torque of it, and perhaps the suspension to an extent because of the steepness of that section. The articulation that you can get on with the suspension is very, very helpful. Earlier, though, higher speed stuff can prove problematic with such a high riding truck. Liability to get up onto, well, have one wheel wiggling around in the air, basically 3 wheels on the ground, and bouncing perhaps in the braking zone into turn 1, and so on. A potential problem But an interesting different one to try and drive down this course. Our third and final vehicle to take on the course is the late model stock car. I was very excited to see this mod appear on the BeamNG Drive forums and very excited to give it a go. Down this course, we've had rally front-wheel drive, a big off-road truck, and now we have a oval rear-wheel drive car. The amount of power in this could be problematic, I'll be honest. There is, yeah, quite a lot of horsepower, I would imagine, in this. The very, very stiff suspension could also prove a problem, such as that, although big race tyres will probably be very, very helpful if we can keep the car off the dirt. Don't really want to be running a wheel. Ooh, I got a twitch. I got a small twitch on my way through that. I mean, the chassis of the car's okay. We kind of just ripped the bodywork apart a little bit. A little bit stuck, but the rest of it is okay. Yeah, there's actually a lot of grip in this, and little steering movements can really give you issues. Big old dip is coming up now. How fast can I be down here? We're up to 70 miles an hour. Although we were skating on the bumps, it's going to be a trip to the river, and we're not going to snorkel to get this one out of it, although it does look like it's so... there's beached. Because of course it is. I don't think it has a handbrake either. I've very much come to the conclusion that there is no real good line for the stock car to take down into a turn one, other than just to be slow. In fact, I say be slow across the bumps. Overall, that's actually proving to be okay in terms of terms of pace, but the car just I say it tears the back of the car apart. It feels like it's tearing the chassis apart. The chassis is very, very strong, and we're going to go for our first spin of the series. This car is so low. It's so low to the ground. It's really causing some issues with that. I think we're not quite beached there. It wouldn't be surprising. I don't think we're ever getting out of here, mind. So it is very much carefully does it in the stock car across these bumps, just a little bit, a couple of miles an hour slower perhaps, and then overall I'm hoping to carry more speed through this first corner. Big oversteer moment, not go well. We carried more speed, we carried so much speed in fact, that we lost the back end completely and smacked it into a tree. It is the first time visiting those trees, probably the first time of many with powerful rear-wheel drive cars. The actual, frame of the car is holding up very well to this abuse. The bodywork is kind of flailing off a little bit. The frame in the centre, as you would imagine from a proper race car, incredibly tough with these impacts. The tyre, not so much when it has one of the kind of fenders straight the way through it. That kind of shreds it pretty quick. In we go to the town. It's a slight boing off the wall. We will get away with that one. What about on the way up the hill? Oh, the long gears might actually help. Oh, wait, no. We've gone round. Ah. Oh, dear. And NASCAR meet tree. In fact, NASCAR and tree are getting very intimate. Maybe we should not look. No, definitely not from that. There's no, you can't hide it. There we go. That's built. God, fight camera. That's more like it. They can do their thing there. Trying to get away with carrying speed, actually straight lining the landing. Car not going to be too happy with that one. Oh, make it onto the bridge. No. Ah, bugger it. It was skirting along on the chassis. I couldn't pull it off the grass quick enough. And that hit the bridge so hard, it's put the front... the front right, I don't think even touches the floor anymore. It's been shunted up that far. Yeah, trying to make speed, and I didn't want to lift off running along the dirt, and that ended us a few millimetres, maybe a few centimetres away from getting a good run onto the bridge. Well, so far, the stock car has been getting fairly intimate with various bits of this area's scenery. Here it's hoping that this run can be the one where we avoid running into any trouble. Nicely clean across the bumps so far. Make sure the brakes are pretty good on this car, but you really got to make sure that you get it slowed down into these very, very technical turns. Now, the actual turning circle on this car, the actual corner grip, is pretty good. I'm actually quite impressed with the amount of speed that can be taken through the corners. We've got to be so mindful. This is where we come undone with this bump. Do we keep it off the grass? Yes, we do. Jump onto the bridge. A big stop over the other side. No, don't do it, car. Don't get that big oversteer moment. Up into neutral slightly, although it had actually kind of put me in a good position for getting through the petrol station. Now I'm hoping that long, relatively long first gear this time, more patience required across the bumps from me as we're going to launch it across the finish line. And hey, we've got a roll of celebration. I think the D-Series pig has had a challenger in terms of the across-the-line celebrations. A roll for the stock car is always much appreciated. Now, can we get you back over? Oh, there we go. The rest of it is fine. I didn't even take out the radiator. The bounce off of the tree. It's a I say it's a mad car. It's a very cool mod, this. In fact, absolutely fantastic mod. A surprisingly nice car to drive, even with the demands of a very narrow and technical, in places, rally stage. It handled itself very well. It is absurdly low. I'm trying to show you. You can see just how close the front of the chassis, I think the rear is not so bad, certainly at the front. Just how low it is and how easy it is to catch on the floor with so many bumps around that particular course. But with a little bit of caution, you can get the car across all of those, carry a good amount of corner speed, and have a lot of fun in the process. On to our leaderboard, and it is the late model stock car that would go the fastest of the lot. 1 minute 4.6, setting the benchmark for future cars to try and beat. The Rally Comet and D35 Pig actually fairly close in terms of time, 109.2 and 110.8 respectively. The Comet is better through the corners. I wonder if the Pig, with that additional power for getting up the hill at the end and general straight line speed from that thing, will probably have helped it no end. That, though, is going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Of course, I shall link all the mods used in the description so you can download them, have a go with them yourself. But until next time, goodbye.